What's up, bitches? This is Silent Rob, and today I'm going to be talking about the Saw movies. And they've pretty much been running to the ground lately, but they didn't always used to be like that, and a lot of people that diss on these movies, fail to remember how good they used to be at one point. And I'm going to go ahead and just go through each movie and give my opinion on it. Starting with the first movie, Saw. And I like this movie a lot. I remember reading about this movie before it even came out, and I remember, just being psyched for it, because it sounded like Seven, that movie Seven, but it sounded like you actually got to see the traps, and, I like movies that mess with your brain, movies like Cube and stuff like that, and it sort of reminded me of that. And it was just a good movie. I liked it. Maybe not as good as some of the later ones, but it's still good. It's got Cary Elwes in it, the guy from Robin Hood Men in Tights, and he's hilarious. He overacts like crazy in this movie, but it still holds up, and it's still good. So, overall, I give it an 8 out of 10. And then came Saw 2. Now, I was super, super psyched for this movie. After watching the first one, Saw 2 could pretty much go anywhere. And basically, they went the Cube route with it. This movie reminded me of Cube even more than the first one. You had a bunch of people trapped in like one little area, and they start fighting, and they start fighting with each other rather than actually going through the traps. And there's traps they got to get through in order to get further into the house. And I don't know, it felt very familiar, but at the same time, it was very well done. I don't know if it was quite as graphic as I wanted it to be. Or as scary, but I liked a few of the traps. The traps were kind of lame. There was a couple good ones, but overall, the traps were okay. But it had a good storyline, it had a good twist at the end. Overall, it's a pretty good movie. A lot of the stuff I didn't see coming, like the needle pit that girl had to go into in order to find that one key or whatever. That was nuts. That inferno thing that guy had to crawl into, that was sweet. That was fucking sweet, but I don't know. It's definitely one of the best ones, but not as good as the first one. Overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. Then came Saw 3, and this is by far my favorite Saw movie. It's just absolutely brutal. I mean, I watch a lot of horror movies, and I've seen pretty much everything. Japanese horror, Korean horror, bloody horror, gory horror, all that shit. And this movie is gory as fuck. Okay, it's even hard for me to watch sometimes. And I like that. And that's, to me, the way every one of the movies should be. They should be hard to watch. They should be hard to take. They're not supposed to be, family movies. Like, the second one kind of felt like a family horror movie. It was a little bit too tame. But this one's awesome. It's got some of the best traps. I remember when that one guy is in that thing that twists all his body parts around. That's fucking ridiculous. That's even hard to watch. And almost every trap in this movie, is nuts. Had a good storyline. Tobin Bell, Jigsaw, was great in this one. And I honestly think that they should have just stopped after this one. This was a perfect cap to the series. Everybody seems to like this one a lot, if not the most. And pretty much it just went downhill after this anyways. Here's where the series started to go downhill. Saw 4. This is also the last one I've seen in the movie theater. And I can see movies for free. My brother works at the local movie theater, and I get into movies for free, and I still haven't seen any of the Saw movies. Okay, and he's worked there for a long time, and I'm just like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, after this disappointment, I didn't know if I could even take it. And I was looking forward to it, too, because after Saw 3, Jigsaw was basically done, and I was interested to see where they took the series after that. Jigsaw's basically dead, and, what could possibly happen? Well, the original writers and original makers of the first 3 did not make this one, and it fucking sucks. It basically goes nowhere, and basically the whole damn movie is just talking about Jigsaw's past and Jigsaw, how he came to be, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't give a fuck about that stuff. I'd rather not know nothing about the person and allow me to come up with it on my own. Okay, it's way scarier than anything that you guys could come up with. I hate when these movie producers feel like they have to explain everything to everybody. They don't have to do that. Jigsaw is better as a mystery, okay? I mean, give me a break. You're explaining all this fucking bullshit that nobody cares about, and this is the fourth movie, and we still don't know what happened to Dr. Gordon in the first fucking movie. Everybody just thinks that he's dead, but they still haven't really said what exactly happened to the fucker. And this movie doesn't really answer any questions. All this movie does is make more questions. And the ending fucking sucks. Typically, Saw movies end with a really good twist. Saw 1 had it, Saw 2 had it, and Saw 3 had it. Saw 4's twist at the end fucking sucks. Basically, the twist of this movie is that it's not even really a sequel. Okay? It's a lateral. I guess you'd call it a lateral. It goes on at the same time as like Saw 3. It's just fucking stupid, and it was a waste of time for everybody involved and everybody that's seen it. I give Saw 4 a 5 out of 10. This is basically where I stopped caring. I heard Saw 5 was coming out, and I didn't really care. I knew I was going to see it eventually on DVD, and I didn't see it until like a year later. But overall, it is an improvement over 4, but it's still not even close to the first 3 movies. I just don't understand what they're going for. A lot of these later Saw movies almost feels like a crime drama, like we're watching NCIS or some fucking shit. You know, like Law and Order or something. Like, it doesn't really feel like a horror movie at this point. You know, you kind of have these people in these traps, and then it goes over to this, like, crime drama with, you know, all these people talking. Like, all these movies is talking most of the time. And Saw 5 had a lot of talking in it. But it was more in the vein of the original movies than 4 was. And it was at least considered a sequel, unlike 4. But it's still not very good. It had a couple cool traps. I like when the walls closed in on the dude at the end. That was sweet. The dude with the thing over his head. That was cool. It had a few good traps. But, you know, overall, this movie did not take the series any further. Basically, all this movie did was bring up so many unanswered questions. Answered a couple of them, but brought up so many more. And I hate that, okay? And I don't know. I mean, it's better, but it's not that much better. Overall, I give it 6.5 out of 10. Which brings us to Saw 6. Now, I only recently saw this one because I did not see this one in the theater, and it took me about a year to actually watch it. Because, like I said, I really don't care anymore. And overall, it was pretty good. You know, it was, reminded me of the first 3 movies quite a bit. And was definitely better than Saw 4 and 5 put together. But still, it seems like something's missing. You know, it still doesn't have the punch that the first 3 movies had. It had a few good traps. It didn't... I think the problem with Saw 4, 5, and 6 is that there's not really a character you can get really attached to, like the first 3 movies had. You know, at least the first 3 movies had Amanda, and, she was a good character. But after she gets killed off in 3, there's not really a character you can really relate to anymore. And I think the fact of making Jigsaw dead through these last 3 movies has kind of taken the punch out of the movie, too, because, in the first 3, this guy is lurking out there somewhere. You don't really know where he is. He's a living being. He's actually out there. Now, he's dead, and basically only his traps remain. And you kind of have to stretch your imagination a little bit to actually believe these last 3 movies. The first 3 were kind of believable, like they could possibly happen, like somebody could come up with this shit. But are you fucking seriously telling me that this guy's dead and he's still fucking picking people off left and right, and his traps are still working perfectly without his involvement? I don't believe it, okay? Saw 6 is pretty good. I give it an 8 out of 10.